Hello everyone, I'm the Saxy Gamer, and today we're here for some very exciting stuff, and it's a series that I always think I'm having the last episode of, but then they always announce some new leaders, and then I'm right back at it. So today we're here for yet another Civilization 6 Leader Spotlight, where today we'll be taking a look at the first of the two new leaders that have been added in the first expansion of the Frontier Pass, and that is Simón Bolívar. Simón Bolívar is the leader of Gran Colombia in Civ 6, and he is a fairly focused domination leader, so let's take a look at his abilities right here. So for the first one, we have Campaña Admirable, which makes it so that he earns a new Comandante General whenever the game enters a new era. We will talk about the Comandante General in just a little bit, but this is a very straightforward ability. It just means that you get a free one of them every single time at the start of an era. They are totally random. There are not specific ones for a given era, so it's going to be a random one each time, and they have a various number of retirement bonuses and a passive bonus. So this ability is fairly consistent throughout the game in its use, but there is a little bit of randomness just based on which one you're going to be getting. His second ability is known as Ejército Patriota. Sorry for my Spanish pronunciation. I am obviously not Spanish or Mexican or anywhere from South America, but this ability makes it so that he, for one, will gain +1 movement to all units, and it also makes it so that promoting a unit does not end that unit's turn. So this ability is ridiculously strong. It's so incredible that it is unreal. So for one, +1 movement to all units, that means literally all units, military units, land units, naval units, builders, settlers, religious units, you name it, it's getting +1 movement. This is one of the most widespread and simple bonuses, but it's easily one of the best. There are so many civs in the game that get movement bonuses, but a lot of them are very situational, and this is literally just a straight +1 for everybody forever. So you can obviously see how this is very useful in not just military conquest, but religious victory for getting out your missionaries and apostles, or just for sending out settlers early on or builders to produce some tile improvements. You're going to be able to be nice and mobile whenever you are playing Simón Bolívar. Also, the fact that promoting a unit does not end that unit's turn is really strong because it means that you can heal up through getting that promotion while also getting the promotion benefits and then still attack or move on that same turn. So whenever I was playing this guy earlier on stream today, I found this to be incredibly helpful, and it's just a very, very strong thing for both offense and defense. Let's move on, though, and talk about the Comandante General, which is the unique great person that is owned by Simón Bolívar that you get from his first ability there whenever you enter a new era. So this is fairly similar to a Great General in that it will provide a +5 combat strength passive aura to units within 2 tiles. Another thing that I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but whenever, so this was not listed in the patch notes, and I don't believe it was originally supposed to happen, but it does have a +1 movement aura as well. As I mentioned, this wasn't noted in the patch notes for the game, but it definitely was there whenever I was playing on stream earlier today. But either way, this is a really strong passive bonus because it applies to all units throughout the entire game, unlike the Great Generals that are limited to certain eras. This is just going to be for everything, and it stacks with the Great General aura, which means that if you have a Comandante General and a Great General, then you can have +10 combat strength on units, which is just ridiculous, and then you get +1 movement in that aura, plus the also 1 movement that you get from your Civ ability, so you can get some really insanely buffed up units by using the Comandante General. They also do have multiple retirement effects, so as I had mentioned before, there are a number of these, and they are totally random as to which one you get out throughout the game. And I will link the patch notes page where you can take a look at what all of these effects can possibly be, but I'm not going to go through them in this video. Now let's go ahead and move on to Simón Bolívar's unique unit, which is the llanero, and that is a replacement for the cavalry unit, so this makes it an industrial era kind of unit replacement. It has a melee strength of 62 and 5 movement, which are both the same as the cavalry, but it does have a cheaper maintenance cost at only 2 gold per turn instead of 5. It also has some unique bonuses, so it gets 4 combat strength from each adjacent llanero, and it also heals to full if a Comandante General retires nearby. This is probably one of the single best unique units in the game for multiple reasons. So for one, since it replaces the cavalry, that means you can upgrade into this unit. You don't have to produce it outright, so that's already a very good starting point. The lower maintenance cost is very nice. The additional combat strength from each adjacent llanero is really, really strong, because if you put a few of these guys next to each other, and then you also have a great general and a comandante general, which you probably will when you're playing Simón, that means that you're going to be getting like upwards of 14 or even possibly like 20 extra combat strength on these units, which a cavalry with extra movement and like 20 extra combat strength, that's just insane. And then also, if you really need to heal them, then you can just use the retire effects on one of your comandante generals, and they're going to be healed straight back up to full. So the llanero is easily one of the biggest domination powerhouse unique units in the entire game. And the last thing that we need to talk about for Gran Colombia is the Hacienda, which is their unique tile improvement. So this is unlocked with the Mercantilism Civic, and it will provide +2 gold, +1 production, and +1 housing to the tile that is built on. I should also mention that you can place these on plains or grassland, as well as plains hills and grassland hills. So in addition to this, they are going to get some bonuses for things that are next to them. So they're going to get +1 food for every 2 adjacent plantations. This eventually rises to +1 food from every adjacent plantation with replaceable parts. And also they're going to get +1 production from every 2 adjacent haciendas. This also does apply to nearby plantations, so those plantations will also receive one production from every 2 adjacent haciendas, and this rises to +1 with rapid deployment later on in the game. So the Hacienda is, I think it's a fairly decent tile improvement. It's definitely one of like the better ones in the game, but I don't think it's like, absolutely insane and game winning. This is a domination civ, and whenever you're playing a domination civ, a lot of the time, most of your cities don't get the chance to be particularly built up, so getting unique tile improvements that provide like food and production are a little bit, they're still very good, but they're not as insane as they would be on somebody that likes to, beef up their cities a little bit more. The +2 gold is good though, because you are going to be going for a militaristic game with Simón Bolívar, so having a little bit of extra gold to maintain your militaries is pretty good. And if you're able to get some areas where you could put a lot of these next to each other, then the yields on those tiles actually can get to be quite high. So my overall view on the Hacienda is that it is a pretty good tile improvement. Definitely not like absolute top tier game winning, but still at least decent. So now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the strengths and weaknesses of Simón Bolívar and Gran Colombia in Civilization 6. So for its first strength, one of the things that I like the best about him is that he is extremely mobile in pretty much all facets. Like, all of his units are getting that +1 movement, so no matter what you're doing, it's going to feel a little bit speedier and just a little bit easier to get things moved around when you're playing Simón. And this makes it really easy to, like reposition your military units, to get out religious units, to go send your settlers places, to send your builders places. Everything just feels a little bit easier because of that one extra movement. The other nice thing is that it doesn't take any movement to upgrade your units to give them promotions, so for that reason it makes it feel as though you're bogged down a little bit less whenever you're upgrading, and it makes it feel like upgrading units is just an immediate, like, instant power spike that helps you straight off the bat. Normally you have to effectively wait one turn to make use of anything like that, and to get the healing, like truly get the effect of healing. But whenever you're playing Simón, you just heal those units up, give them a promotion, and then you can immediately go and keep stomping people into the ground. Another really big strength is that stacking the general auras is extremely strong. You could get +10 combat strength on pretty much any military units that you have throughout the entire game. So this is really, really good, just because obviously +10 combat strength is a lot of combat strength, and thus it's going to make you quite stronger than your opponents, even if you are behind them in techs. Whenever I was playing on stream earlier today, I was able to fight some of the crouching tigers and also coursers with horsemen. So obviously horsemen are in like ancient or maybe classical era units, and I was able to fight significantly later era units with much higher combat strength just because of the fact that I was able to stack these general auras. Another honorable mention for their strengths is the llanero, which is just one of the most insane unique units in the game, and definitely something that you should make use of anytime you are playing Simón Bolívar. As far as his weaknesses are concerned though, he's got a few. So for one, he doesn't have any bonuses to loyalty or amenities, and both of these are important for domination because, well, obviously you have to make sure you can keep control of the cities that you're taking, and that kind of applies with amenities as well. If you go too negative into amenities, you're going to get some yield penalties, and you're also going to have some more loyalty issues. So those are things to watch out for and maybe try to mend with your build orders or governor titles or things of that sort. He is also lacking yield bonuses, so obviously he doesn't have any bonuses to like his science yield or any of his unit production or anything like that. So that is something you have to be aware of. It's not that big of a problem because he's able to get yields indirectly just by conquering people, so it's just something that's a little bit of a concern early on in the game before you've really steamrolled anybody or started your snowball domination victory. So for that reason, that's something to just be a little bit cognizant of whenever you're playing Simón Bolívar. And finally, let's go ahead and give Simón his tier ranking. So if you are new to the series, all that you need to know here is that this is on a standard tier scale of of F through S, where S is the highest tier. So it goes S, A, B, C, D, F, and then, S is highest, F is the worst, and that's pretty much all you need to know. So for his domination victory rating, I think that he is easily an S tier civ. Easily one of the best domination civs in the game from all of the movement he gets, his incredible unique unit, the Comandante General stacking with great generals, pretty much everything you could ever want for domination victory. Well, maybe not quite everything, but a lot of the things you want for domination victory you are going to get with Simón, and he is very easy to use to just steamroll anybody else. For his science rating, I think he deserves a B. I know a lot of people get mad whenever I give domination leaders a B in science, but it is true that just whenever you play a domination civ, it is very easy to transition from domination to science because getting extra land means that you'll have a lot more cities for campuses and some more good campus adjacency spots, which allow you to just buff up your science yield a ton when it doesn't really penalize you by having more cities. So any leader that is good at domination is also naturally kind of good in science, and you can always pivot to that later on in the game if you wish. So for that reason, I think he deserves a B. For his culture rating, I think that he deserves a C. He's pretty, non-impressive with culture. He doesn't really have any reason not to go for culture, and you still technically could pivot for it whenever you're playing domination, because you do like having land for culture victories for national parks and seaside resorts, but aside from that, no major bonuses here, so that's why he deserves the C. For religious victory, I think that he deserves a B. He does have the benefit of getting that extra movement on his religious units as well, and one thing that I've just thought about now that I haven't tested, but maybe someone in the comment section can confirm or deny this, I'm not sure if the Comandante General will apply to religious units as well, but maybe someone in the comments can maybe investigate that a little bit and let me know, or if I'm able to find it out, I will let you know, but either way, just getting that little bit of extra movement on your religious units is nice, and it actually does make it significantly easier to get things out and spread your religion a little bit more and a little bit more quickly than your competitors. So for that reason, I think he deserves the B in religion. And for diplomacy, I think he deserves a D. Kind of like with science, any leader that is naturally good at domination is probably going to end up pretty bad at diplomacy, because if you're going domination and utilizing those parts of Simón's play style there, then you're going to be in a pretty bad spot diplomatically, because you lose diplomatic favor from having grievances and occupying capitals, and that's going to be happening a lot when you're playing Colombia. So for that reason, I think he deserves a D. Definitely do not try to go for diplomatic victory as Simón, just because you're kind of wasting half of your toolkit if you're doing that. And for his overall rating, I think that he easily deserves an S tier rating. He is just probably one of the best leaders in the game, definitely one of the best leaders in the game, simply because of how good he is at domination. So I know sometimes people say like, oh, well, if there's an S, B, C, B, D, like how does that mean S overall? Well, he's so good at domination that it makes it so that he can win that before anybody else can win pretty much anything else, and he can stomp people down so fast that, it's not even going to be a problem that he's not great at other things. If you're going for Simón, definitely go for domination victory. If you absolutely have to, you can pivot to science victory later on, or you could be, a little zany and try a religious victory. But either way, he's got some really strong bonuses that are fairly universal, like his movement bonus, and his extra combat strength that he can get from the Comandante General is really, really strong. So definitely try this guy out if you are picking up the Frontier Pass, because he is one of the best leaders in the game. So thank you everyone for watching. I have been the Saxy Gamer. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you're looking for some more Civilization 6 content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.